Hello, everyone, and welcome to the new season of the Purposeful Life Show with your host, Adrian Starks. I'm excited to share some new updates of the show with you, starting with a new look, sound, and energy, as well as a variety of guests coming aboard with intriguing topics of conversation. I hope you enjoy the new level of energy that will be brought to the show. Thank you for all of your support since the very beginning in 2019. Wow, it's been 3 years already? Because of you, the Purposeful Life Show is now in the top 5% of all podcasts globally, and we aim to get it into the top 1%. Continue listening to the show and share it with others. You can also now listen to the show on my Facebook page at Adrian Starks, where you can comment in real time and communicate with me about your aha moments. Thank you again for all of your support, and let's make this one hell of a year and be purposeful about doing that. Wishing you all much love and success. Are we currently living in a crisis culture? It appears so. The world is moving so fast with increasing information, ideas, and trends, and it's just moving at alarming rates. Can we really keep up with it? And if so, what's it going to do to us? Could it be through lowered self-esteem, images, doubt, worries, as we compare ourselves to the ever-changing world? What happens if we were to accept ourselves in the midst of all these changes and not look to competition or comparisons, but to creativity? That's what you're going to find out on this next episode. Stay tuned. Hi, my name is Adrian Starks, and welcome to the Purposeful Life Show on the Champion Up Podcast. This podcast is for the courageous creators wanting to create a life of meaning, adventure, and fulfillment, all while helping to make the world a better place. I'm happy you're here, and if you're new to our show, make sure to give us that 5-star rating and subscribe so you don't miss out on future episodes. Also, connect with us on Facebook and Instagram at Champion Up. It is always that one idea that could be your breakthrough. It's time to step into your courage and believe the champion in you. Well, welcome back, everyone, to the Purposeful Life Show on the Champion Up Podcast. I'm your host. My name is Adrian Starks, and I'm so excited to have you for another powerful and enlightening episode. But before we get into this wonderful episode today, make sure to go to the App Store, type in the word Champion Up, and get that Champion Up app. Also, give us a 5-star rating on this show so that you could be on the lookout and receive more amazing content. Be sure to subscribe as well. Today is a very special episode, and I'm so excited to talk about it because this has been on my mind quite a bit. And we're going to talk about this age. We call it the age of comparisons, accepting ourselves into an era of comparisons. Think about that. And have you compared yourself to other people or other things, or as we say, try to keep up with the Joneses? I think you may have. Today, we have a special person on the show. Her name is Loree Cowling, and she was here a while back talking about SEE Uniqueness, but now we're going to get a little deeper into this. Loree, can you say hi to our audience today?
Hi, everybody. I'm so grateful to be on the show today and talking about my favorite topic.
Yes, your favorite topic, and we're excited to hear some more gems of wisdom from you because we just love Loree. But let me get into a little bit about Loree here. Loree Cowling is a dedicated, loving mom to a beautiful daughter who has chosen to shine her light as a divine soul with Down syndrome. Their experiences together inspire Loree to support people to participate in impactful conversations that transform how people celebrate themselves and others. She is an international best-selling author, speaker, and advocate for inclusion as a natural conversation in all environments. Loree facilitates inspired, engaged connections within core relationships at home, in schools, at the workplace, and our broader communities. Thank you for joining us again on the show today, Loree.
Oh, you're welcome.
We are excited to talk more about today about this era of comparisons, and I know that you know all about that, and you are just ready to teach us some. But before we get into these details about the age of comparisons and what we can do to help alleviate ourselves from that, can you just share a little bit with our audience a little bit more about what you do exactly?
Sure. We developed SEE Uniqueness a few years ago, and one of the biggest reasons is to create programs and places where the celebration of individual uniqueness becomes the cornerstone of our families and our communities and our businesses. I really desire to create this space where individual diversity is celebrated and then created into a space where it allows everybody within your families or your teams to excel in their dreams and their passions and
Mhm.
fulfill their lives from a place of individual excitement together.
Ooh, from a place of excitement together. So, what really inspired you to want to do this kind of work? Was there something that sparked this to really create See Uniqueness?
Yeah. I have this beautiful, amazing life because my daughter chose me, and
Hmm.
she's 21 now, and she shines her light here, like we said in the bio. There's a beautiful light of a soul with Down syndrome. And in that place in our society comes a position of always being measured against everybody else.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what she's doing or where she is. You can always see people measuring her to their standard.
Hmm.
And then what I found when I started really looking into that is people are actually measuring themselves constantly to everybody else.
It's so true. They're putting, like, I call it putting someone's head above yours, when you look at that comparison thing that we do, because we're always trying to validate, am I okay? Am I better than this person? That's so not what we're supposed to do as individuals and human beings on this planet to help each other. And speaking of Sydney, I love the fact that I did some reading about Sydney and what you guys are doing together. And I actually had the opportunity to see this wonderful See Uniqueness YouTube page, and I just loved it. And the video is called Sydney's Million.
Mhm.
And in the video, you mentioned that Sydney, you saw her as perfect exactly as she was. And when you turned to her to say that, she had this amazing smile on her face. She just lit up. And I just love that, Loree. And I feel like we all need to do that with each other. But why do you think there are so many across the globe who are not accepting themselves or willing to appreciate themselves as they are?
This is such a great question. And it's really the foundation of everything that I talk about. It's this place where we have created wrongness and difference. And there's fear there. To be
Hmm.
different allows for a space of fear in our current conversation and consciousness of it. And in the
Hmm.
wrongness, there's isolation and punishment and abandonment. And we can find this from the time
Interesting.
we're little kids, then when we move into the world, whether it's in school or our communities, when we move into the workplace, we carry that with us always. This
Hmm.
sense that if we're different, something bad is going to happen to us.
It's true. When we're different, we think that we're going to be pretty much isolated or we're going to stand out. And here's the interesting thing, Louis, I found is that we're supposed to stand out. There's really nothing in nature that is the same. Everything has its variety. So, as human beings, we have put ourselves into this box of saying, I need to be like this person, this group, this idea, this belief system, this feeling. And that has really stunted us from really expressing ourselves and seeing our own uniqueness. What can our audience do to start accepting themselves or ourselves a little bit further?
It's this really interesting juxtaposition when you start to look at how to celebrate who you are. Often it comes first
Hmm.
by celebrating people outside of you. So there's
Hmm.
two things that I recommend. The first is to take a moment in your day to think of something about yourself that you want to celebrate, but you've been
Hmm.
told you can't because it doesn't fit in. And to just write that down and put it aside somewhere that you can look at it every once in a while during the day and start to honor that part of yourself. And the second thing that I support people to do and see when they can't celebrate themselves is to recognize that when you see somebody else that you think is beautiful or lovely or is doing amazing in the business like you want to do or has the characters and qualities that you think are just, that top of the line stunning, these people got it, is to know that you would never recognize that in somebody else if it wasn't in yourself.
Yes.
So to celebrate yourself by first seeing that in other people and knowing, that I wouldn't see that if it wasn't in me. I must be a little of that too.
See, I love your perspective on that, Loree, because we're looking at other people, but not as a way of comparison and looking at ourselves negatively, but we're instead saying, well, hey, if I really like this person, I really see this about them that I really inspire, then that's inside of me as well.
Mhm. We would
Wow.
just never recognize those things if we didn't have some sort of reference for them in our own being.
Hmm. Okay, so it's already in our being if we recognize it. So instead of anyone out here who are listening, whether it be a young adult, an older adult, that if you're looking towards someone and you're saying, "Oh, I wish I had what they had," or "I wish I
Mm-hmm.
had their looks," "I wish I had their position," reality is that if you're noticing it, you have the same inclination to be that, not that person, but you can be your own kind of person and still have that feeling that they have.
Absolutely. And it's kind of like what you do is you start to build the evidence. When I started doing more outside of just within my family and wanting to share this in the community in the world, I would spend time around people who, you would call your mentors or the people that you want to be like. And when I started to notice these qualities about them that I thought, oh yeah, that would be great to have that. And then I said to myself, I must have it or I wouldn't recognize it. I started to build evidence of it. And
Ooh.
I do it in the smallest ways first. You just, if you think that person's really good at accomplishing a task, then
Mhm.
you celebrate every task that you accomplish. If you think that, somebody just talks in the most lovely way and has that heart that you desire, then you notice when you say something lovely. It's building the evidence that you're already an expert at what you wish to become.
Ooh, okay. So that's my light bulb moment. Let's go back. So
Okay.
you're already building the evidence of who you wish to become.
You're building the evidence that you're already an expert at who you wish to become.
Okay, you're building the evidence that you're already an expert at what you wish, who you wish to become.
Yeah.
Okay, so audience, write that down because I did. I'm carrying it in my pocket today. I'm going to be reading it throughout the day because that's so valuable to know. And so, Lori, speaking of being the expert, have you ever had an experience where you have compared yourself to someone or felt like you were like misunderstood?
hmm For sure. And, these kind of processes and experiences happen continually in your life. And so I actually just had that the other day. I'm a mom and I'm a caregiver and I'm with Sydney most of the time. And right now I'm trying to learn new skills.
Hmm.
And I've had the opportunity to be in a class, an online class with one of my all-time mentors, like that. Oh my gosh, I want to be in conversation with this person so bad. And my daughter was requiring some extra care and I was balancing both. So I had my daughter in the room with me and I was on the online call and my thoughts at the beginning were like, I am so failing at this because I haven't figured out how to separate these two. And I really felt like I'm not doing this like other people would do this. They would have their office set up and everything just handled. And
Hmm.
then, she said something beautiful on the call and I just took this deep breath and I thought, "Oh no, I'm winning at this
Oh,
because I'm
yes.
doing it the way I'm meant to do it." I'm honoring my daughter with dignity and care and I'm on this call with this person I've desired to speak to. So, it shows up all the time in comparison. We are always doing it. We're comparing ourselves to how somebody is educated, how somebody does business, how somebody parents, how
Hmm.
somebody exercises, how somebody eats. And, I kind of have this thought of what difference does it make if you do this in 5 minutes or 5 months or 5 years? If you are along the way honoring who you are exactly as you are, you don't have to do it like somebody else.
That's so important. And I'm so glad you brought that up, Loree, because I have myself been in the comparison actions throughout my life. And every now and then I have to catch myself, especially me being a speaker and a talk show host here. I look at other people and say, oh my goodness, I need to step it up, or I need to do this, I need to
Mhm.
change this. And then I have to fall back a little bit and say, wait a minute, you're doing it your way. You're
Mhm.
doing what you know how to do now. And just be appreciative of what you're able to offer on these terms. So then I slow it down a notch and then I realize, wow, things are not so bad after all. I think that's that sense of perfectionism that we try to aim for, which is no such thing as that. We can, we can only strive for excellence and just to become better, but it comes on our own terms. And I believe in the philosopher Ralph Waldo Emerson, and he said that we must all adopt the pace of nature. Her secret is patience. And so when we're patient with ourselves, I really feel like we can begin to honor ourselves more and just know that everything in due time. Has Sydney ever had moments in her life, meaning your beautiful daughter? Has she ever had
Mm-hmm.
times in her life where she has compared herself or felt, maybe upset because of someone comparing themselves to her?
Yeah, for sure. That comes twofold as well. Sydney experiences people comparing her and judging her every single day. It doesn't matter where we are, you will always see somebody looking at her and questioning and, seeing her difference.
Mm-hmm.
And she handles that with this beautiful grace. She just loves up on people. She just knows that she's perfect exactly as she is. She's the one that taught me this. And, she just loves up on people.
Mm-hmm.
And pretty soon, anyone around her for any significant amount of time, 5 minutes or 10 or an hour, they drop into this space of loving themselves. And you can see it and you can feel it. So that's one way she experiences it. And the other is she does experience it for herself in comparison. And for her, it's usually around speech. So she does not have a lot of expressive language. And she will get really frustrated when she can't express what she's thinking or feeling. And, she'll say things like, I talk perfectly. And she's trying to convince herself. She'll say, I talk perfectly
Mm-hmm.
because she feels like other people can't understand her. So that's definitely a place where she feels it. And, myself and those that are around her all the time, we've really come to understand that we communicate way beyond our words and we rely on our words way too much.
Mm-hmm.
And how she affects the world is way beyond her words. So when she does share them, and she does them in magnificent ways, sometimes when we're speaking together, she'll sing. She sings to some really powerful songs. And when she says words like, change the voices in your head, make them love you instead, from one of Pink's songs, you just feel it to the core of you. So I feel like she changes that comparison into a space of acceptance automatically.
So, okay, she takes the comparisons to a space of acceptance automatically. That's absolutely beautiful. And I love that you said that she taught you how to
Mm-hmm.
really take that moment and just have love for where you are in that
Mm-hmm.
moment. And also to the expression part. I agree with you. We live in a world where we're moving so fast, people talk so fast, and sometimes you don't even understand what people are saying. You're just like, what are you saying? Because they're just moving 100 miles an hour. And in this world of just talk, 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 go, 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 people such as Sydney, with her huge heart and her spirit, they make you just slow down and say, look, I don't need you to tell me 100 things. I need for you to show me. I need for you
Mm-hmm.
to be present with me. And that is beautiful that she has taught you that. But on this journey of helping others see their uniqueness, Loree, have you faced any challenges of people resisting this amazing love that you and Sydney radiate?
Absolutely. I think it's a natural thing for us to resist when somebody sees you as completely beautiful and loving exactly as you are. Because we're
Mm-hmm.
conditioned. Like we're very conditioned to look for fault first and look for wrongness first
Absolutely.
and fix the problem first. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I find it often, and some of the audiences that we've talked to, I will ask them to share with me something unique about themselves that they wish to celebrate. And in the youth, and they, like, I want to say teenager youth age, they rarely can do it. They have to ask their friends to identify what's unique and something to celebrate.
Oh, my.
Younger kids, they're great at it. They're just like, yeah, I ran really fast yesterday, or, you know, I like butterflies. They're just so in the moment. Those
Mhm.
ones are great. The adults, often they just stop dead because they're so conditioned not to celebrate who they are, as if somehow that is selfish.
Yeah. Let's get on that subject right now.
Hmm.
Selfish. We have been conditioned to think of ourselves as being selfish when in turn it should be more self acceptance
Yes.
and self focused. And that's what this topic is here about, the self acceptance in the era of just constant change and comparisons. And I love the fact you brought up with adults because I really feel like, it's interesting, Loree. I just thought of this. When you are a child, we're always asked, what do you want to be when you grow up?
Hmm.
And what do children say? I want to be a fireman. I want to be an astronaut. I want to be this. I want to be a doctor. But when we're adults, we should be asked a different question. Now that you're growing up, because you're still growing, who do you want to become?
Yeah.
Because I really feel like we're not understanding ourselves enough. I had a discussion with someone the other day, and they were going on this rampage about, well, this person, I can't stand dating because of this.
Hmm.
And I said to them, I said, well, have you figured out what you actually want and what you actually need by understanding yourself? Because I find it very interesting that we're so quick to learn about other people
Yeah.
before we learn about ourselves. And then we walk into the space of hoping that someone accepts us.
Yes. And then it creates so much fear and
Yes.
concern because you're constantly, well, what if they don't like this about me? And what if they don't like this about me? And
Hmm.
what if I get angry, or what if I'm frustrated?
Hmm.
We are in such a space where we don't even know how to like ourselves in all of the essence that we are in whatever situation, that we pretend. People are so constantly pretending and covered in masks of who they are because we look outside first.
Yeah, and I like the fact that you said we're covered in mask, and you and I are thinking on the same wavelength here,
Hmm.
Loree. That's why you're on this show. You're amazing. Let's talk about this wearing mask thing, and what Loree is mentioning here for our audience today is that not the mask that you wear, Halloween, or if you're going to whatever party you may be going to. We're talking about the mask of, I hope you don't see who I really am.
Yeah.
I want to wear this so that you can like me. So this mask you could be wearing at work. You could be wearing with your friends. You could be wearing at some event. And we're not saying that we can change. I mean, one thing about human behavior is that we have the ability to adapt to our environments, which is an excellent thing to have. However, what we do too much of is that we wear the wrong mask. And like, for instance, if you're in this facility and you walk in and you fear that someone's going to judge you, immediately you may start acting a certain way that is not you to be accepted. This happens a lot in groups and friendships. And the mask that you wear are not truly who you are, meaning that you should speak how you really feel about
Hmm.
something. And to really look at a person for love, not out of, I hope you like me.
Yeah.
I hope you find me attractive. That's what Loree is mentioning here about wearing masks. And so, Loree, can you elaborate a little bit more about other masks that people wear? Do you find that there's the people that you work with, are they wearing different masks?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm finding, in lots of my work that one of the things that we really struggle with is being able to act in the way that we would normally act or feel or be if we were alone around other people.
Hmm.
And I find that the biggest reason for that is because we care so much that other people love us. We've forgotten what it means to love ourselves. And
Hmm.
when I look at the questions of, what do you want to be and what do you want to do? Something more powerful that we would ask and could ask our children and ourselves is, how do you want to be today? How do
Hmm.
you want to feel? How do you want to move through this moment? We build up so much concern about what's going to come
Hmm.
and what somebody else has to say, that we've just forgotten, and we cover up so much of ourselves. And as you were talking about relationships and dating, one of the things that I find in that area is that when you're very honest, even to the point of, somebody will ask you what you want to eat for dinner, and you will not say what you like because you're concerned they might not like that.
Hmm.
Right? We've been conditioned to make sure other people are okay. So when you're very honest about yourself, it allows other people to discern difference with acceptance.
Ooh, discern difference with acceptance.
Yeah,
Okay.
it brings us right
Very
back to that, how we made difference wrong. But when you make difference beautiful, you get to this place of such honesty in yourself and with the people in your life, and you're able to discern in whatever moment without judgment what you want to do. If somebody has a behavior, is doing something you dislike, you don't need to find fault in it.
Mhm.
You simply say, oh, okay, well, that just doesn't feel right in my being right now. So I'm going to go do this other thing. And yeah, I'll talk to you tomorrow. Right.
Mhm.
And
I love
without
that.
judgment, right? Just
Without
this.
judgment.
Yeah. Cindy taught me that. So Cindy has this incredible power of being really mad at you in one moment and then it being over and she's just loving on you. Because you don't need to hold, that space of, I disliked this for more than a moment.
That's true. And that's part of accepting ourselves too, is accepting our emotion at that time
Hmm.
and not repelling it, which a lot of people do. They will hold it in and they will hold this thing we call the grudge, or keeping
Hmm.
an invisible scoreboard is what I call
Oh, yes.
it. And the
Yeah.
next day they're like, check, okay, now it's my turn.
Uh-huh.
As
Yeah,
opposed
for
to just
sure.
moving through it.
I think that's one of what you were talking about with the mask is that emotional mask, right?
Hmm.
We
Yeah.
create this space that we're all loving being. In every moment, I'm a loving being, and lots of my clients and people I work with have real concern about the fact that they have judgment about other people because
Hmm.
they feel that you must find a loving thing all the time in whatever situation shows up for you. Yet, one of the most loving things we can do is be honest and say, that hurt. I dislike that behavior. I dislike this. How you're acting is uncomfortable for me. Like the honesty instead of trying to convince yourself that your emotion isn't real and what you feel isn't real. And you should find kindness in everything. The kindness comes first in celebrating that you have a reaction, that you are uncomfortable here, or you're happy here, or, that's the biggest kindness we could ever give.
I love that. And back to the fact that you were talking about the I and you portion here,
Hmm.
because you were mentioning before about I dislike that or I am not happy with that. And this is important for our audience to listen to today because what happens with arguments is that there's one person or two people trying to gain control or power over the situation.
Right.
A disagreement or a dislike is something of this sort. I am accepting responsibility for how I feel, and I'm honoring that so much that I'm going to be honest with you to communicate that on a respectful level.
Hmm.
And that's what Loree is mentioning here about when we accept ourselves by saying what we dislike about something. And it's not saying that, oh, you made me angry. You did this. And this is what a lot of people do. They point the finger and they relinquish their responsibility of their feelings towards someone else. Accepting yourself means, you accept that emotion for you.
Absolutely. And when you're in that state of, pointing the finger or being in blame, acceptance is very hard to find.
Mhm.
And what happens then is as you're putting that outward outside of yourself, it's naturally coming back to you. And you're not able to even accept yourself because when you put blame and dislike and some of those more strong emotions like anger and even hate, which
Mhm.
we see in Sydney's world, I've seen some of that to a very big extreme. What happens is inherently your psyche knows that when I hate somebody else or dislike somebody else with that kind of emotion and intensity, I dislike myself that much
Yeah,
because we're all connected.
we're all
So,
connected. And
yeah,
why do you think, so Loree, why do you think it's easier to love others or accept others before we accept ourselves?
I think it's just safer. I
Mhm.
think that when we've grown up or we've learned how to look for what's wrong first and how to be in judgment of ourselves first, it's a safer place to go out and find love in somebody else or, see somebody with,
Mhm.
divine perfection. It's just safer because when we have to start looking at ourselves that way, then we also end up looking at the things that we dislike about ourselves. And it's a big process
Mhm.
to take those things that we think are wrong and love them.
To take those things that we think are wrong and love them. That is another light bulb moment. Okay, I'm taking some good notes today, and I knew I would. This is very great information, Lorene. I really appreciate that. I struggled myself with this for a long time of accepting myself, and I must admit I'm single now, but I have so many good relationships with people, like friends and associates, because I've learned to really accept myself for who I am and love myself. And it's amazing when you do that because then you can attract the right kind of people into your life. that you aspire to
Yes.
be and to even learn more from and to be around. Loree, this is amazing here. And how can our audience get in contact with you or learn more about what you're doing with this movement of SEE Uniqueness and accepting ourselves in this era of changing times?
Well, right now we have a Facebook group. It's just go onto Facebook and SEE Uniqueness
Mm-hmm.
and ask to join the group, and I'll get you in there right away. And we're always in these conversations of the powerful ways we can see ourselves. We have, like you mentioned before, a YouTube channel, and we have a video up now, and we're going to be adding more. And that's the uniqueness. It's such an easy way to find us. And we're in the process of building a website, and we'll be releasing our own app probably in the next few weeks.
Beautiful. I love that. Okay, so you'll have your own app in the next few weeks. And so that would be great for our audience to have. Make sure in a few weeks, or you'll give it a few weeks or a little bit over 4 weeks or so, just go in the App Store, type in SEE Uniqueness to see if it's there. If not, put it on your calendar to keep going in and checking it, because you're going to need to get this app. Also, for the YouTube page, I want you to go today and to click the subscribe key and also click the notification panel so that when these new videos come up, you will be aware of them. Because I believe
Awesome.
truly that Loree is on a big movement here with SEE Uniqueness. And I had a chance to see that Sydney's Million video, and you all should watch it. I love the video. I even love the end of the video. I'm not going to tell you guys what happens at the end, but you need to watch the video. Don't fast forward through, watch the whole video, and you will see these wonderful gems of just happiness and joy going throughout the video. Loree, I have a powerful question for you, which is called the Courageous Creator question, which I'm sure our audience is waiting on. What does self-acceptance mean to you?
I love when you ask these questions because they are powerful. And as soon as you ask it, I can feel it in my whole being. To me, the place of self-acceptance is a space where my mind and my heart and my body are all in alignment. And I can move through the world in my day with my relationships in such presence of who I am that I can see other people, that I can see who they are in what they show me, and I can love them so much exactly as they are. For me, that comes because I have a level of self-acceptance that, when I meet somebody, I want to see you. And I ask, how are you? I want to know you. I want to see you. And what then happens is that self-acceptance turns into like a multitude of acceptance. I accept myself. I love myself. I love the person beside me. That person gets ignited and they learn how to love themselves simply because I could love up on them. And then they go home and they hug their child or their partner and they love up on them because they feel more accepted in themselves. And it's this ripple. It's so much more than an intellectual concept. Self-acceptance is how love will change the world.
Oh, self-acceptance is how love will change the world. Okay. Self-acceptance is how love will change the world. So to our audience today, this is why Loree Cowling is a courageous creator and she's on this show. Loree, I want to thank you so much for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you so much. I always enjoy being in conversation with you, and so in gratitude to be able to share with your audience, myself and my daughter, and what we see and how we see the world.
I love that, Loree. And thank you and Sydney as well for gracing us with your presence and your amazing gifts of love and acceptance. We really appreciate that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And to our audience today, remember to accept yourselves in these fast changing times. And accepting yourselves means loving yourself, honoring yourself, being honest with other people, and slowing down. You don't need to know everything. You don't need to compare yourself to anyone. Just get good at being you. Until then, I encourage you all to be that courageous creator in your life. This is the Purposeful Life Show and the Champion Up Podcast with myself, Adrian Starks, and thank you for listening. If you've enjoyed our podcast today, don't forget to give us that 5-star rating and subscribe to the show so you don't miss out on the powerful life-changing content on future episodes. Also, make sure to go to championup.net for even more life-changing content. Until then, I encourage you to be the courageous creator in your life.